In shape, 145.
Yeah.
In shape. You know what I mean? So this is different from a Crawford coming up to 168, but we know his walk around weight is probably 170, 180.
Tank Davis' only shortcoming, pun intended, is his height. He's 5'5" with a 67-inch arm reach. But as you can see here, he's working on his versatility.
Terence Crawford reportedly visited Gervonta Davis ahead of his upcoming clash with Jake Paul, offering him valuable training tips and strategic guidance. The two champions exchanged techniques, discussed fight strategies, and showed deep mutual respect. Crawford praised Davis' exceptional talent, discipline, and work ethic, voicing his full support for the young star. He even remarked that if Davis ever wanted to share the ring with him, he would gladly, accept not from rivalry but from respect for boxing's legacy and the greatness the sport embodies.
Is that ever a possible fight?
Yeah, if he want to dare to be great, he can be like all the other fighters that's moving up 2 weight classes and daring to be great.
You would fight him,
man. Tell him to come up there.
He got to come to win 54.
He said I got a glass chin, so tell him to come and touch it.
Wow, man. Gervonta said you got a glass.
He said I got a glass chin. Tell him to come and touch it.
At 147?
At 147. I'll make 147 for him.
Ooh, see, oh, man.
You're going to have a pre-camp.
Then what the people going to say? Oh, he's beating up on little guys.
I don't know.
Gervonta Tank Davis seems to be drawing inspiration from Terence Crawford, regarded as one of boxing's most technically advanced fighters. Crawford's preparation for Canelo Alvarez earned praise for his fluid stance switches, balance control, and unpredictable rhythm. Now Tank appears to be adopting similar methods. Recent training clips show him refining footwork, changing angles, and even switching stances mid-combination ray in his usual style. Analysts believe Davis is not only learning from Crawford, but also from Jaron Boots Ennis, a master of both stances. This evolution signals Tank's plan to surprise Jake Paul.
Right. This is scary. Gervonta Tank Davis is working on his versatility. We already know he has that ultimate equalizer, that special God-gifted one-punch knockout power. But he also can box. Gervonta Tank Davis, he's very durable, has a chin, never seen him visibly hurt. Gervonta Tank Davis also has great footwork and foot placement. And here you see Gervonta Tank Davis' only shortcoming, pun intended, is his height. He's 5'5" with a 67-inch arm reach. But as you can see here, he's working on his versatility. He's now working on fighting orthodox. He's naturally a southpaw. Now he's working on fighting orthodox. Great switch hitters, no Diddy, in the sport of boxing.
Joby the Adult, a well-known boxing commentator, emphasized that the upcoming fight between Gervonta Tank Davis and Jake Paul must remain truly exciting. He noted that many fans worry it could resemble a light sparring match, with both men holding back to avoid embarrassment. However, he warned that if the bout plays out that way, it would instantly damage both fighters' careers. Audiences would lose interest and refuse to pay to watch them again. With Tank and Jake commanding massive fan bases, the event cannot be cautious. It must deliver real intensity, or the hype will quickly
career ending. It can be career ending. Jake Paul can end his whole shit. That's the black. Tank can end Jake Paul's whole shit. And if that fight is meh, and it's just a sparring session that's tit for tat, their shit's over. Because people are going to be pissed that it's exactly what they expected it to be. They can't do that. If they do, their career's ruined. Jake Paul career's ruined, and Tank. If they make it meh and just touch, both their brands suck. That's the black two sugars. You mess around in that bell ring, and you see little Tank, and you see big Jake, and he's throwing a jab, and little Tank making a miss, and bam, and y'all gonna be like, whoa, say I'm lying. Y'all, you know what? Yes, say I'm lying. Please say I'm lying. But y'all gonna be right there cheering, because you ain't never seen nothing that damn bizarre. Even De La Hoya versus Shaq had headgear, and Shaq ain't a boxer. That right there, fireworks. because you're going to be holding your breath, especially Tank fans. I'm going to be like, don't hit Tank. You're going to see Tank little ass legs. He's going to, and big ass Jake, big legs and big ass head. Watch. Y'all talk all that shit now because y'all love talking shit. Y'all love hating on things until you see it. Like women back in the 90s. I remember my sisters back in the 90s. You ain't that cute. You ain't, but all on your shit. That's what y'all do. Y'all talk shit, but y'all the first ones there.
Keith Thurman highlighted a clear truth about Gervonta Davis and his critics. He pointed out that the very people who constantly bash Tank are the same ones who never misses fights they claim his performances fall short, yet they still tune in every time he steps in the ring. Thurman argued this behavior proves fans actually fuel Davis' success, even while trying to bring him down. Their attention, whether positive or negative, only makes his name bigger in boxing by calling his fights disappointing. They unintentionally keep his spotlight shining and his popularity alive. Clarissa Shields recently stated that the only logical fight for Gervonta Tank Davis would be against Shakur Stevenson, but the comment didn't sit well with him. Tank fired back bluntly, saying no one has a right to dictate his career. His response carried a clear message: fans should support him as spectators, not act like managers. The reaction stems from frustration after his draw with Lamont Roach, when many fans turned on him online, labeling him overrated. That criticism clearly stung. And Tank is now done living by others' expectations. His mindset is simply he fights on his own terms.
Man, it says that, pretty much the only people that can beat him is Shakur Stevenson. And I don't know who else he said. He said she thought that at a point in time that Devin Haney could beat him, but now she doesn't believe that. But so really the only fight that there is for Gervonta Davis is Shakur. What a mighty, mighty convenient argument. And Gervonta Davis responded. And basically his response was, come on, girl, stop talking about me so much because you're making me feel like I'm special. Right? So he pretty much just, kind of blows it off. But I really think that there's something much deeper going on here. And it is that this, and I said it again, I said it in another video, I'll say it in this one, the Bud Buddies. The Bud Buddies are a crew of boxers that all hang around and worship Terence Bud Crawford. And the main two members of it, besides the people that are actually in Terence Crawford's camp, as fighters, are Shakur Stevenson and Clarissa Shields, without a doubt. Clarissa Shields is a huge backer of Terence and a huge backer of Shakur Stevenson. At the end of the day, the only thing she really cares about is what's in the best interest of Shakur Stevenson. And anything and everything she say is angled that way to get Gervonta Davis to do something that Shakur Stevenson wants him to do, which is really do all the hard work and then be there for Shakur Stevenson to become a star at the end of it. I'm telling you, man, I believe that to the bottom of my soul, that is the same plan that Terence Crawford ran on Errol Spence Jr.
Matchup between Gervonta Tank Davis and Jake Paul doesn't follow the usual structure of traditional boxing, as many analysts note. Fights like this don't fully represent real competition. They exist somewhere between sport and spectacle. What makes this one especially questionable is that both men are still in their primes. Exhibition bouts usually make sense for legends past their peak, like Mayweather's recent shows. Here, however, Tank and Jake remain active, capable, and still building their careers. That makes the event unusual, as it blurs the line between a legitimate boxing contest and a viral entertainment stunt.
Fights like this, with fighters pretty much in their prime, But other than the size mismatch, most people are wondering why has Tank taken this fight, and those were the first questions targeted to Tank in this presser, because usually these sorts of bouts are relegated to the latter part of your career, and for most Gervonta Davis supporters, they thought they would get the big fights next, the Shakurs. They didn't think he would be fighting Jake Paul. Although Tank tried to push it off as fans should just be happy watching the sport and hey, haters will be haters, I think that's quite unfair to the people who have been loyal supporters of him and honestly have paid his bills. He tried to compare the level of criticism he gets to the likes of Mayweather, but the difference is with his mentor Floyd, he really did fight a lot of champs in their prime. Has Tank? Well, not really. The most notable fight he's recently had that the people actually wanted was the Ryan Garcia fight, and the only reason he took that fight was because everything was on his terms. And other than the Ryan fight over the last couple years, it's either been people who aren't in his weight division, which he's pulling up, or fighters ranked in the lower half of the top 10 lightweight list. The fights people have truly wanted to see just have never materialized, and simply that's why people criticize him. If the likes of Crawford never fought Spence or Usyk never fought Fury or Joshua, they would have caught the same level of flack. The reason why fighters like them are applauded is because generally they take on whatever challenge is in front of them. Tank instead, his whole career has bobbed and weaved around the most significant challenges that the people actually want to see unless he has everything his way.
Another reason many are uneasy about this fight is the massive weight gap. Jake Paul typically walks around near cruiserweight, while Gervonta Tank Davis usually competes between lightweight and super lightweight. That's roughly a 6,070-pound difference, exactly what boxing's weight class system is designed to prevent. Divisions exist to protect fighters from unfair mismatches in size, power, and potential damage. If bouts like this become routine, it raises a question of why weight classes exist at all. Even labeled an exhibition, the risk remains obviously imbalanced could make the fight not only unfair but also physically dangerous.
Assuming there's no rehydration clause, which I don't believe there is, he'll probably weigh around 215 pounds in the ring. That means there's a sort of a 60 to 70 pound difference between the two men in the ring on fight night, which is absolutely enormous. There are weight classes for a reason in boxing, and this is the sort of thing that is typically not allowed or permitted. And like I said in my intro, it goes to the heart of that key question in boxing, which is how big is too big? It's the reason that the pound for pound list exists, where we kind of imagine if everybody was the same size, who's the best, who's number one? And it's a debate that rages on and on and on. And so when I see a fight like this, I think the hardcore boxing fans, generally speaking, have felt frustrated by it. Yes, because we want Gervonta Davis as part of the actual sport, competing for world titles against the other elite guys in his weight class. But also because if he gets knocked out and loses to Jake Paul, it creates this illusion that Jake Paul's much better than he actually is. And so I guess the question for me is, can Gervonta Davis beat Jake Paul, or will Jake Paul simply be too massive? Can Jake Paul use his size, or will Gervonta Davis simply be too skilled? What's the answer here? And in trying to answer this, I looked to history. And there's one fight that immediately popped out of my mind, and I thought, I wonder what the size difference was there. In fact, it may even be more significant. And it was, and the small guy won. Some of you might be thinking about it right now. It's when David Haye took on the monster, the absolutely ginormous human being, Nikolai Valuev. I think it took place around 2009. So at the time, I was literally a teenager. I didn't have a clue what I was looking at, and I'd fully bought into this David versus Goliath story. But I think it's an excellent example here to draw comparisons between the Gervonta Davis-Jake Paul fight to try and understand whether or not this is a good template and blueprint to try and predict and understand what the size difference might look like in the ring. Now, David Haye was 6'3" and was 217 pounds for the Valuev fight, whereas Valuev was 7 foot tall and weighed 316 pounds.
The outcome of Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis goes far beyond simply proving who is stronger or more skilled at it reflects the future direction of boxing itself. If Jake were to win, it could pave the way for more exhibition-style fights where influencers face professional boxers. That shift would inevitably draw attention away from traditional championship bouts and toward entertainment-driven events fueled by social media hype. Fans might begin to see conventional boxing as dull, preferring spectacle and drama over discipline and technical mastery. On the other hand, if Tank secures a dominant victory, it could help restore balance. His success would serve as a reminder that true boxing ability, years of training and mastery of fundamentals still outweigh celebrity status or viral fame. For purists, that outcome would reaffirm the value of the sport's traditions, yet Despite the criticism surrounding this matchup, curiosity remains high. Many casual fans see Jake's fights as unpredictable and chaotic qualities that make them exciting compared to slower, more tactical bouts. By adding Tank into that storm of unpredictability, the stakes rise even higher. This fight symbolizes what modern audiences crave: something raw, explosive, controversial, and
Purists hate it, the algorithm loves it, and both will watch. It's not just who wins, it's what wins. Will the entertainment value or the ring IQ come out on top? Because if Tank dominates, the meme dies. Jake Paul survives or hits it big, we see new rules are going to be written in real time. Me, you, maybe everyone at some point has been that bigger guy thinking that I'll just bully him. Jab, slip, liver shot, sent me down real nicely. Size helped until it didn't. All I'm saying is, let's not dismiss something because it looks weird. Many fights get decided by the details. Feet before fists, timing before muscle, discipline before clout. Look, Tank wins if he stays Tank. He's built on patience, traps, explosive counters. That's hell for a tall guy who gets eager. Jake's long jab is the gate, but Tank's head movement is the key. Once he times it, the door's getting open and the furniture is going to get rearranged. Think locksmith versus padlock. Big padlock looks scary until the right tool clicks once. Jake throws that overhand like he's bowling with the shoulder. Effective, but you don't see.
Promoter Eddie Hearn offered one of the sharpest takes on the Tank Davis versus Jake Paul matchup, stressing that boxing and entertainment are completely different worlds when the two are mixed. He argued the sport risks losing its true identity. According to Hearn, this fight isn't about genuine competition. It's a business event designed for money and attention, not legacy or titles. He warned it a dangerous blend, because if fans begin accepting such spectacles, the credibility of boxing itself could suffer. His words carry weight given his first-hand experience watching entertainment.
Always said that there was a chance that Jake would fight in November. I think, wasn't I the one that broke Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis 6 months ago or something? I know that I knew that they'd agree that deal. I didn't know they were about to announce it then, but I did know that they'd agreed that deal previously. So I don't like it, if I'm honest. I mean, I think we need to really differentiate between boxing and an entertainment concept, and that's what that is. It's a freak show, it's entertainment, it's a lightweight fighting a cruiserweight, you know, with, I don't know, is it bigger gloves and certain minutes per round? I don't know what it is, but, you know, I understand the market and I understand this freak show shock kind of the world mentality of people potentially tuning in. Is that a step too far? Maybe. I mean, I hated Jake Paul against Mike Tyson, but it did massive numbers. I hate Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis. It'll probably do massive numbers. So that's when you really have to differentiate yourself between, just because you don't like it doesn't mean it isn't going to do good business.
Former champion Sean Porter offered a more personal perspective on Jake Paul's rise in boxing. He explained that most fighters accept Jake's offers mainly for the payday, not out of respect. The money is too big to ignore. But true admiration in the boxing community is something Jake hasn't earned yet. According to Porter, the respect he receives is mostly surface level. People applaud his marketing ability and business savvy, not his ring skills. Real recognition, he added, only comes from facing and defeating elite opponents, and that's something money alone can't secure. This fight highlights how much boxing has shifted into a business-first sport for Jake. It represents another opportunity to prove he belongs alongside professional fighters, not just entertainers. For Gervonta Tank Davis, it's a test of how far his brand and influence can stretch beyond the sport itself. Both men are marketing giants, but they built their reputations differently. Jake through spectacle, Tank through skill and achievement.
He come from the hitting days. Yeah. Can't hit nowadays. You know what I mean? So boxing hasn't lost its essence, you know. They're trying to make it safer and, you know, all those sorts of things, but there's still this pureness to boxing that really doesn't exist in sports anymore, but it's still there with boxing. I think that's why people have such a problem with this kind of move from Tank Davis.
Is it more the heart? How do you guys feel being boxers?
Man, like once you hear the numbers, I'm like, they're talking, like, I don't know the official one. They're talking about like 100 mil.
Oh, damn.
they're talking about these insane numbers. Like I'm gonna be like, don't take that. I'm not gonna tell another man not to take that type of check, especially for something like that. It's not on your official record. It's an exhibition. I'm not gonna lie here and act like I'm not gonna say yes to 100 million or something like that.
That's all for today's video. Be sure to catch us in the next one.